Do not shoot me, folks. I don't know this song. There are a lot of songs I don't know. And sometimes I'll do a song by an artist like Hank, and you guys who've been listening to country your entire lives will be like, I didn't even know that song. So anyway, it's not uncommon, but it is a gift request, so you know I'm going to do it. Jason House requested that I do Hank Williams Jr.'s song, Mr. Lincoln. I don't know if this is going to be a Civil War type song. It kind of brings that to mind because Hank handles that, the Civil War and all that. He handles it very deftly. He actually handles it pretty much with a sense of humor. Like, what if Hank was president type thing, or where he's like, I don't know, don't upset them again. Speaking of the Northerners, that don't upset them again because they might come down here. I'm like, holy crap. It's just going to be a good song. So and where do you live, Jason? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer. I get people's desire to remain private. You guys know where I'm at right now, Jersey. I've spent quite a bit of time in the South too. I have people I just love, like brothers and sisters, seriously, all over the country, up north, down south, all over. And if someone's nice, I like them. If they're not nice, I don't like them. I don't care where they're from. It's just pretty simple for me. Patriotic.
Mr. Lincoln, I wish you were here.
Oh, really?
The Republic's changed a lot in 100 years.
Wow.
And I don't think it's working like you planned. Oh, Mr. Lincoln, we could use a hand.
When did this come out?
I just read the headlines in the Nashville News, and I wish I'd made this up, but I'm afraid it's true. 'Cause a man was murdered for his money in the street. He was taking his wife to a nice place to eat. When they caught the man, he did 23 months of time. He pled insanity like they do now all
I wonder who
the
wrote
time.
this.
Sir, what would you have done in 1859? Now if you shoot someone, sir, you can get off scot-free. Oh, it's the latest thing, Mr. Lincoln, can you believe? Now they sue the manufacturers of the guns. Ain't the law changed a lot since 1861? Mr. Lincoln, I wish you were here. 'Cause things have changed a lot in 100 years. And I don't think it's working out like you planned. Hey, Mr. Lincoln, we sure could use a hand. I just heard the news story on the radio. They let dangerous men out of prisons now. Yes, sir, I'm afraid it's so.
This thing absolutely could be written today. I mean, each state is different with their laws, but I know like in New York, they've got, New York City, like no bail reform. And you're like, so guys commit crimes, bang, they're out that night, truly. And some of these crimes are assaults on others. There's one dude had like 43 assaults on his record, and it's just this turnstile. I don't know when Hank wrote this thing, but I don't even think he could have envisioned the way it's turned out in some places now.
'Cause they're overcrowded, and it was only his 5th offense.
No.
Yeah, and this time he's killed someone. Does that make any sense? Now my lawyer called me about a nuisance case. 'Cause everybody sues over any little thing these days.
Maybe.
Well, at least we're right. All we gotta do is tell the truth. He said, you're living in the past, you romantic fool. I said, you got that right. I lean toward the older ways. And there's damn few backwoods lawyers left today. Mr. Lincoln, I wish you were here. The republic's changed a lot in 100 years, and I don't think it's working like you planned. Hey, Mr. Lincoln, we sure could use a hand. Mr. Lincoln, please, could you come here? 'Cause things
That's such an interesting song. I did not see it coming like that at all. I get the sense Hank wrote that. I mean, the lyricism was just like you would write it on a napkin if you were sitting in a restaurant or something, watching people go by out in the streets. There's nothing over the top about this song, about the lyricism. It wasn't witty. It was just direct, on point, as if almost you'd read a letter to the editor out of the Nashville News, the Tennessean. I guess that's the big one in Nashville, but in perhaps the entire state. But yeah, I mean, times do change. And of course, you grow up a certain way and you're kind of wedded to it. And some people can adapt to change more readily than others. But you tend to like the things that you know. It's just, we recognize those patterns in society more readily. And then when those change, we just feel like fish out of water or something, or fish in a bowl that we can't get out of. In any case, it's somewhat uncomfortable. And so we tend to prefer that which we're familiar, that with which we're familiar. And in this case, things change, and they do. But the notion of violent people not having an answer just makes things worse. And I won't go political on this because that's not the purpose of the channel. Of course, I have my thoughts on it and such, and any one of them might be wrong. One might be preferable to many others. But I hear his lamentation, but it's interesting that the pleading was to Mr. Lincoln. Like, just institute justice, institute what's right. That's the pleading. Jason, second song in a row, I'm not going to rate. Obviously, I'm sure you knew I wasn't going to rate Then Sings My Soul. That is a spiritually minded song. I don't rate those. And this is one it's not really an homage to Lincoln. Maybe it's not. He really was just using him. He could have said Jefferson. He could have said Adams. He could have used any president, really. All right, maybe I will rate that. It really wasn't an homage to him. It was about society today. But it almost sounded like Hank wrote this did this like 20 years ago, fairly recently anyhow. All right, as a song, the number that popped into my head was an 8.6. It was obviously a snippet of things, but it was more a very personal, contextualized reflection of what's gone wrong in society. So yeah, it was a very simple song. And I think it was true. His lawyer called him and said, here's this other thing. And Hank's like, I want to go with truth. And the lawyer said, stop romanticizing those old ways. You can't go with that. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself sued left and right for things. That's how I interpreted what his attorney was telling him in that circumstance. But I can relate. I mean, you see where so many people, no bail. No, like Johnny Cash sang in Man in Black. He's like, I know there'll always be things that aren't right, but, and that's this type of thing. There are certain things where there's got to be common sense, because the more you rubber stamp violence in society, the more violent it's going to become, and then you've got to walk it back. And it's like Mark Twain said, I'm pretty sure it was Twain. It's easier to get out, it's easier to stay out than to get out. And that applies to any circumstance. If you stay out of trouble, stay out of certain habits, societally, if you stay out of certain ways, permissive ways of things, it's a lot easier to keep people from getting into those behaviors than it is to get everybody out of them, because more people start to accept them the more they see them. But violence, when it happens to you or your family, you're like, oh, I don't like this anymore. But it shouldn't have to get to that. But Jason, should I say thank you? Thank you for the gift. Thank you for getting me going, man. All right, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you on another video. Be kind to folks. What else do I say? And keep rocking the country.